So today I thought I would be talking about none other than Dabi from My Hero Academia, because he's someone that I don't think I've really talked about in a video before, apart from when I made a video where I discussed this theory that my friend Orpheus had made a while back. Now this was of course before I was even friends with Orpheus, but apart from that I don't think I've really made a video that really centers around Dabi, unless there's been a review that also like really centers around his character, but not really a discussion or just any other form of videos. It's just been in the form of reviews or that said theory that I discussed, as I just said. So I thought today I would talk about Dabi more freely, seeing as he is a very interesting character despite the fact that you haven't really seen all too much from him. Like, there hasn't been as much of Dabi as maybe there have been of Toga or some of the other villains from the league, like Shigaraki. Of course, he's been having quite a lot of moments in the story, seeing as he is the main antagonist right now, so it kind of makes sense that, you know, Shigaraki would have a lot of screen time, but Dabi hasn't really had a lot of screen time. And, you know, despite the lack of said screen time or moments in the story in general, he is a very popular character, and one of the reasons why he is so popular is of course because a lot of people think that he may potentially be a Todoroki brother. Now this is of course a theory, and I just want to make it clear that this video is probably gonna heavily revolve around me talking about Dabi as a Todoroki brother, which means that if in the future it is disproven that he's not a Todoroki brother, you know, if Horikoshi puts out a chapter where we actually get information that says he is definitely not related to Endeavor or Shoto, then this video is probably going to be completely useless in the sense of, you know, relevance to the story, because, well, none of this is going to be happening, is it? Now, I'm not really going to go into my own theories or anything, although I may touch on ideas or speculations that I may want to happen, but it's nothing so deep as theories, because obviously if you're gonna put out a theory you need to have some evidence backing it and all of these kind of things. But what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna blindly go in discussing my thoughts on Dabi being a Todoroki, because I think it is a topic that most people want to hear. I mean, maybe not, but even if it's not, you know, I'm still gonna talk about it because I want to talk about it. So let's just go straight into Dabi being a Todoroki brother and what I think about it. So Dabi is part of the League of Villains, but maybe he wasn't always such a bad or evil character, should we say. I'm not really saying he's a bad character in the sense that he's badly written, but rather bad in the sense that he has ended up on a really dark path. Now, one thing when it comes to Dabi and being a Todoroki for me is that I really want to see him interact more with Shoto, and I also want to see, if we assume that he's a Todoroki brother, I want to see some interaction between Dabi and their mother, because if Dabi separated himself from the family due to the treatment of Endeavor, you know, the way Endeavor treated him as a child, then there is a very significant chance that he's not gonna have any problems with the other children that are also against the way their father has been treating them, which means that especially their mother is not really going to be someone that Dabi hates. Now, he's probably gonna have some disagreeing with her, because we do know that their mother has some kind of forgiveness in her heart towards Endeavor, which Dabi may not be a huge fan of, but at the same time, their mother didn't do anything wrong. She was just the mother in the whole idea. We actually even saw, especially during Shoto's upbringing, that the mother was trying to stop Endeavor to some extent, but you know, Endeavor is quite strong, and I guess Japanese culture is still, even in this story, that, you know, the male is somehow in more control than the female. So I'm guessing that may play a part in all of this as well, but what I really would like to see is just some interaction between Dabi and all of these siblings, especially their mother, because I think there is some light in Dabi still if he's a Todoroki brother, because you don't simply go from light to dark, you know, there's always gonna be a reason why you changed to the side of evil, and that means there's always a possibility that you will be able to go back to the way you started. Not necessarily so far as to say he would ever forgive their father for what he did. I don't think that's ever gonna happen, but I do believe that we could see some spark of light in Dabi. Whether he's gonna become part of the good side, that might be a big stretch, but I think we could see signs that there is still light within him. Now, when it comes to Dabi meeting Shoto, we've seen Shoto and Dabi having a small encounter. In fact, it is that encounter that first triggered the idea that Dabi may be a Todoroki brother. And that really fascinates me because he names Shoto by Shoto Todoroki and recently even named Endeavor as NG Todoroki, which shouldn't be open information probably. I don't think that's public stuff that you can just find out there because that's the whole reason behind having a hero name. In a way, it's kind of like an alias so that not just anyone could find you and do harm to you like a villain or whatever it may be, you know. So there's definitely something going on between Dabi and the Todoroki family, but whether he is one of the brothers, you know, we can't really say for certain, but I really want to know what it is, you know. I really want to find out what would happen if Dabi and Shoto had a more prolonged encounter rather than just so brief as we saw it be during the forest training camp arc. And I also want to see an encounter, of course, between Dabi and Endeavor, where Endeavor's sight is properly functional, because we know that the reason why he couldn't really pinpoint Dabi's identity in that chapter was because his eyesight was blurry. He knew that the League of Villains had someone called Dabi in there, but as we know, Dabi is a codename. It's not his actual name, which means that he could still be a Todoroki brother, and there's just this slight chance that Endeavor is going to recognize his child if he were to have proper vision when encountering him in such a way. But would that really be a good thing? Because as we know, Endeavor probably did something really bad to Dabi if he is a Todoroki brother. Especially if you look back at one of the recent chapters, I believe it was 2 chapters ago or so, at least at the time of me making this video, where Natsuo, which is Shoto's brother, he said that some guy called Toya, which is their older brother, something happened to him, meaning that Endeavor definitely did something bad to some sibling that is no longer with them. And then we have Dabi, who seems to have some connection to the Todoroki family, you know. There are definitely signs just popping up one after another, so I really want to see if it's gonna lead up to that point where we find out, you know. Well, I mean, I guess it is obviously going to lead up to a point where we find out the truth, but I really hope that he is a brother of Shoto, because I am definitely a very firm supporter in the theory that Dabi is a Todoroki. Like, I have absolutely no problems, especially given all the signs that, you know, all of these theory crafters has been coming up with, like the blue flames, the eye color, you know, everything essentially. There's a lot to really dig into if you actually look it up, if you haven't already. Most of you probably have if you're watching this video, but it's really something that I want to see. But I also want to see as more screen time of Dabi, you know, in general, even if it's not related to the Todoroki family. I want to see him being the center of an arc, which we haven't really seen yet, because even in this arc, he only really appeared at the end, and we saw this encounter with Hawks, of course, which wasn't really much, even if it was significant. So I really want to see an arc where Dabi is being given a lot more screen time and a lot more depth, so that we can understand his character a lot more, even if that doesn't mean him being revealed as a Todoroki brother, because I believe there's a lot more than just his backstory. You know, you don't need to have an interesting backstory to be a good character, although I think in Dabi's case, backstory is definitely going to be significant if this theory is in fact correct. But even just, you know, knowing more about him as he is right now and exactly how strong he is, because we haven't seen him fight all too much. We've seen some short encounters with Dabi, but there's never really been anything extensive, so we can't really put a number on him and say he's this strong compared to any other character, because there's just not been enough to really determine that, in my opinion. Anyway, I'm going to end this discussion right here, so I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. You know, just let me know what you think about the whole idea about Dabi being a Todoroki, and what you want to see from Dabi if he is in fact a Todoroki, and even if he's not. Like, what if he's not a Todoroki? What would you like to happen in regards to Dabi's character? Is there any particular moment you'd like to see, or is there just nothing in particular? Maybe you're not even a believer in the Dabi being a Todoroki brother theory. You know, there's all kinds of people out there, so I'd love to know what you think. And as always, if you did, be sure to Detroit smash that like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. This has been Chaotic Plus, and remember everyone, Toga is waifu and Toga is Laifu.